Hey everybody, I am your host, Tom Stone Cold Nicita, and welcome back to episode 3 of the FEB4 Sports Show. Before I get into it, what did Tom do this weekend? Well, here's what Tom did. I won $1,000 on tour. I went to the Rabbitohs and Tigers game where I practically saw the Tigers secure their grand final spot this year. They played really, really well. Back-to-back field goal wins. I thought they were really, really good. I won $52 on the punt for our FEB4 Sports Show multi. Hopefully you guys won some money there too. If you put $10 on, you would have pulled out $26. So we've got one leg down, 9 to go. And along with my mate Rudy behind the camera, Rudy and I hit on a $63 multi with 9 legs. And that's what Tom did this weekend. All right, so this past weekend in sports, the Tigers picked up a really big win over the Rabbitohs, 23-22. I've noticed that there's a pretty big change in, support and momentum for the Tigers. They were getting shit on a few weeks ago, by me especially. But there's been a lot less hate around the club, particularly for Madge, Brooksy and Hastings. There was actually a point in the game where Lockie Ilias made a break for the Rabbitohs and Jacob Little chased him down. They then got a player sent to the bin, obviously trying to prevent a try. They then went 9.5 minutes keeping the Rabbitohs scoreless. And yes, they did concede, but that attitude wasn't there a few weeks ago. But the Tigers did really look strong. And again, there is a really big attitude shift. And I think it's evident, not only as a fan, but just watching it on the field as well. It's definitely there. And the Tigers are turning the season around. The Bulldogs. I've been pretty harsh on them the past few weeks, but after a 34-14 loss to the Broncos, who aren't a team that are in great form themselves at the moment, I don't really see positive signs coming at all for the Dogs. They're now sitting on last place again by themselves, which, a few weeks ago when you'd seen all the signings that they'd made in the offseason, you would have been saying that was a really poor result. Personally, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. I think it's a coaching problem. If you're telling me that Craig Bellamy or any, of these other top-tier coaches had the squad that Trent Barrett has right now, I think that the Bulldogs could be sitting in the top 8. So it's not good enough. I don't think he'll be around for too much longer unless they start picking up a few wins anytime soon. And they've got the Roosters this week, so, things aren't looking pretty for them. The Melbourne Storm. What do I even say about the Melbourne Storm? Every year you hear them lose a few players and all the fans start going, oh, Melbourne are going to be weaker this year. Melbourne are going to be weaker this year. And yeah, they did lose to the Eels early on in the season. But look at them. They're freaks. 70-10 win over the Warriors. It's unbelievable. The story of the Storm, they signed Xavier Coates. He gets dropped to reserve grade for poor performances, comes to the Storm and absolutely kills it. In my opinion, he's one of the top 5 wingers in the game at the moment, and that's due to the Storm system and Craig Bellamy. And on top of all that, they start their week by signing, in my opinion, one of the better second rows in the game, Tarek Sims. You heard it here first. He will go down there and he will absolutely carve up. I think Tarek Sims will become one of the best second rows in the game next year. He'll be playing for New South Wales, and more importantly, I think there's every chance that he wins a premiership with the Storm. And on to the Panthers. So we've had a few people on TikTok say that the Panthers have the best defensive stats in the comp, even though I've been saying that they have loopholes in their defense. But tell me this, TikTok fans, have they beat a top 6 team yet? I rest my case. They've picked up 2 wins for teams in the top 8, and they were both coming 7th and 8th respectively. So until they beat a top 6 team, I don't want to hear about this whole, oh yeah, we're strong defensively, all this bullshit. From rounds 9, 10 and 11, they have the Eels, Storm and Roosters respectively. So if they pick up 3 wins from 3 wins there, they don't concede too many points, then you can come talk to me. But until then, the Penrith supporters, pipe down a little bit, yeah? The Roosters, well, they're looking like pretenders at the moment. I said a few weeks ago and at the start of the season that I didn't think that they were going to be able to contend for the premiership this year, and didn't you guys prove it against the Dragons? That was a piss poor performance. You guys won't be making the top 8, let alone the top 4 playing like that. Unless you turn things around real quick, it's going to be a pretty ugly season. It may be a bit harsh saying they're not going to make the top 8. Let's be real, they are. However, they're nowhere near the premiership. And I think adding Brandon Smith right now to this squad still wouldn't make him a premiership contender. I think that they are a season, maybe even 2 off, and they need to fix up some of these issues quickly. And our last takeaway, Sifa Talakai for the Sharks. That is one of easily the best halves of footy you will ever see a player play. 2 tries, 2 try assists, might have even been 3 try assists. Just absolutely carved up Manly and Morgan Harper out there. Made Morgan Harper look like a poor child. I worked with the Rabbitohs for a few years while Sifa Talakai was there, and I saw some things athletically that he could do that not many others could do. He was 115 kilos, moving like some of the 85 kilo players, quick feet. He wasn't really fit, but you could just tell he was an absolute athlete. Talakai, I'd be picking him for the Blues this year. You could play him in lock, you could play him in second row, you could play him in centre. Usually the centres who are big boys like him, who weigh 110 to 115 kilos, they can be liabilities on defence, just slow turning and that kind of thing. But he hasn't shown any of that at all. Sifa Talakai, I'd be picking you for Origin. From the EPL this past weekend, look, of course, when we bet on Arsenal to try to win a multi, when they're playing a relatively easy team like Brighton, they end up shitting the bed. But then as soon as they play Man United, they get a 3-1 win. Couldn't believe it. Of course, Arsenal have to do that to us. That's why I will never be betting on Arsenal again. However, they did pick up a really good 3-1 win, really pushing themselves into the top 4. The race to secure a top 4 spot is really going to heat up coming towards the end of the season. Most teams have 4 or 5 games left. But at the moment, I think the top 4 position is still really up in the air. Personally, I think Chelsea are going to take the 3rd spot. They've got a bit of an easier run home towards the end of the season. And the 4th position will be between Arsenal and Tottenham. There's a game coming up in 2 weeks, actually, where Arsenal will play Tottenham, and I think whoever gets the win there will finish in that top 4 spot. Tottenham do have to play Liverpool heading into the final few games of the season, so I think that they really are going to struggle. Arsenal have West Ham. If I was an Arsenal supporter, I'd be pretty confident in a top 4 finish. However, I do think that will come down to that game between Arsenal and Tottenham in a few weeks' time. So as we are recording this episode right now, my previous selection for NBA champions, the Phoenix Suns, have just picked up a really crucial injury to Devin Booker, and I don't see the Phoenix Suns winning the NBA title without Devin Booker. I've been saying it the past few weeks that they were my pick. However, without him, I really don't see them winning it. Personally, I think that the NBA champions right now may be in the West, and I don't think it's the Memphis Grizzlies. I think it may be the Golden State Warriors. They are cruising right now. They've just beaten the Denver Nuggets. Steph Curry's on fire. Jordan Poole's on fire. Klay Thompson's playing well. I really think that this may be the year for the Warriors to pick up another championship. I'm still not counting out the Memphis Grizzlies just yet, but with a few tough losses to Minnesota, who I really don't think are an incredible team, I do think that their championship stock has lowered a little bit, that it is time for the Golden State Warriors again to step up in the West. In the East, well, the Boston Celtics absolutely dismantled the Brooklyn Nets. They made Kevin Durant look pretty average in that series, I'm not going to lie, except for the last game. And they made Brooklyn as a whole just look weak. I think that Boston really could make a good push. I think it's only going to be between them and the Milwaukee Bucks going into the final few rounds of the Eastern Conference Championship. So my money would right now be on Golden State to come out of the Western Conference and either Boston or Milwaukee, depending on who you back, coming out of the East. Now, if you're feeling real cheeky and you're feeling like you wanted to throw a little bit of money around, let's just say you got $10 sitting in your sports bet account. If you were to bet on the Golden State Warriors winning the Western Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks to win the Eastern Conference, and then Milwaukee to win the NBA title. If you're going to throw those 3 legs into a multi, Rudy, what would you be expecting to pay? 10, 20 bucks? Well, no. Those odds come in at a staggering $58. So, Golden State to come out of the West, Milwaukee to come out of the East, and Milwaukee to win the NBA title is paying $58. Unbelievable. So if I had a cheeky $5 or a $10 sitting in my account, that's where I'd be throwing my money. Otherwise, if you want to throw the Celtics in there instead of the Bucks, and then take that multi the exact same way, that's going to pay $38, so $10 on that, $380. Absolute steal, if you ask me. All right, kebab review number 3. We're at the famous Jimmy's Kebabs, located on the corner of Daking Street. I think we're on Windsor Road, I'm not too sure. We're opposite the 8th wonder of the world, the gorgeous Tollgate Hotel. Of course, we always start with the Pepsi Max. They've already picked up half a point there. So for those of you who don't know the rules, it's pretty simple. We order lettuce and onion. We get no tomato because I don't like tomato. The holy trinity of sauce. If it's not barbecue, chili and garlic, I don't want to hear it. And of course we don't order cheese because, well, we're not filthy animals. All right. I've got to be honest with you here, guys. Taste. The bread's not really hitting for me. The meat and sauce combo is good, but the bread's just not really hitting for me. I'll go one more just to be sure. So I had to quickly walk away from Jimmy's. The road was making too much noise. That's on us. Look, I'm going to be blunt though. Not one of the best kebabs I've ever had. I think I've had better from Jimmy's. Wasn't that impressed. Taste, I'm going to go 2 out of 5. Look, I've got high expectations of my kebabs and I really didn't enjoy this. The bread's like mushy. The sauce ratio, they didn't put enough barbie on it for my liking. Didn't love it. Ambience, look, you're on a main road. Yeah, you're in Para, yeah, you're in God's country. Yeah, you're across the road from the 8th wonder of the world, the Tollgate Hotel. But being on a main road, I don't know, makes the parking hard. I'm only going to give the ambience a 3. Customer service, I'll give the guy a 4. Didn't really say much to me. He did actually tell me a really funny joke though. He said, "Do you want cheese on this?" I thought that was really hysterical. So I'll give him a 4 there. And price was $12.50, so I think it's about a $10 kebab, $2.50 Pepsi Max. So we'll give that a 3.5. So look, overall, I think that they were saved by the customer service and the funny joke he told me. I'm gonna give it a 3.1 out of 5. That's our review for the week. We've also got the leaderboard right here. Rudy, can you please show my friends the leaderboard? We have Istanbul 1, Western Sydney Kebabs 2, and Jimmy's Kebabs 3. Again, nothing personal, Jimmy. I'm sorry, mate, but that was not one of the best kebabs I've ever had. Over and out. So, the Tom Bet FEB4 Sports Show multi, we're going to call that the road to 10K now, okay? And you guys would know the rules by now if you've been listening. Well, we're one leg down now, but we've got 9 to go, so there's no time for celebrating just yet. 10% of the way there. The second leg of our road to 10K is as follows. So, our second winning bet is the Penrith Panthers at -5.5 against the Titans on Friday night. We have the Melbourne Storm just to beat the Knights. I'm pretty confident there after the way the Storm have played. The Melbourne Demons to beat the Hawthorn Hawks in the AFL. That's our first AFL leg we've thrown in one of these multis, but the way the D's are playing, I'm really confident. We have over 1.5 goals in the Manchester City versus Leeds game on Sunday, and we have Chelsea or draw against Everton. Now, those 5 legs are paying $2.25, but I'm pretty confident that all those legs are going to come off. So we're going to put our compounding winnings on. So if you were to put your winnings from last week onto that multi is paying $2.25 and would give you around a $60 return. Again, if you're using last week's winnings. So a $60 return after 2 bets. I'd be pretty happy if I were you guys. And again, after Sunday, we're only going to have 8 legs to go. So tune in for the road to 10K.